Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We're going to have a great show for you today. Welcome aboard, Michael Rudnin. Welcome aboard, Breach, the correct heading. You know what? It seems like, not Facebook, but YouTube is having sort of it's not an issue. They change the way they do things right now. And whereas we could go ahead and implement and automatically transfer names, something changed. We don't know what it is, but something changed. Anyhow, we are going to have a great show for you today. As I play some other videos, etc., I'll go ahead and get that heading fixed. Anyhow, folks, have you been watching TV? Have you been watching Donald Trump? He just gave a news conference, and I'm going to get into the show in a minute, but I want to discuss the news conference. He just got into the news conference and talking about pandering. Welcome aboard, Irene Tolan Moser. Welcome aboard. And what I find ironic is, the type and the level of pandering that we're looking at. It was amazing to see that Donald Trump suddenly has a good feeling. He has a good feeling for, for Puerto Rico. He is going to give them $13 billion. And remember, he said they were thieves and he would never again give them any money. Remember when he said that? Remember also when he said that, as it turns out, I don't know, these guys are not a respectable government. Oh, that's what he said. But anyhow, it doesn't really matter, right? As it turns out to be, we know who Donald Trump is, and we know what it's all about. Breach, tell me if it changed. I went ahead and I made that change into it, and I hope that's what it's gonna take to get. Oh well, that's not really the right change. That's not it. Anyhow, as it turns out, we know how this guy thinks. We know what this guy is all about. We don't have to question it. Anyhow, we are going to get into the show, and I will go ahead and fix all those things that I need to fix after our first part of the show when I get into doing some other stuff. So let's go ahead and talk about the show. What is the show about today? The show today is titled, Republicans Jumping Off the Ship. Stop being punked by Trump. Will it be a landslide? The exodus of people who know Trump intimately are leaving. Yes, they are leaving. Why are they leaving? They are leaving because, well, do we really need to answer that question? I think everybody here knows why they're leaving, right? Anyhow, we have a new person that decided to leave, and that is a woman called Olivia Troy. Olivia Troy could not take it anymore. She could take it no more. And not only that, she said, when I look in the mirror, I really could not look at myself. That's what she said. I really could not look at myself. And you could actually feel the pain that she was feeling. And by the way, I think it's fixed now. If you take a look at the title under Facebook, I think I got it fixed under Facebook. I'm going to have to figure out what it is that these guys have changed in Facebook so that we can somehow make this automatic. Anyhow, so continuing with the program, as it turns out, she couldn't take it anymore. The atmosphere for a landslide is there, folks. It's there. And what it takes, however, is for us not being fearful. What it takes is for us to simply say, we're going to do the job that we need to do for those of us who wants a progressive type of government. And you know what? Progressive doesn't really mean Democrat only. Progressive mean Republican. Progressive is a form of being. Okay? Progressive is a form of being. Refresh it because I just saw the title change, Redden. Anyhow, um, the press is asking, they asked all the wrong questions today at that press conference. Donald Trump is on a roar. He's saying that this election is going to be stolen. This election is going to be stolen. All those people that are getting those ballots, they are going to steal this election because they didn't request the ballots, and somehow giving everybody the opportunity to vote is somehow wrong, as opposed to somehow being democratic. That's what he's saying. And the reporters are allowing Donald Trump to set the narrative. Instead of changing the narrative to saying, don't we all believe in democracy? Don't we all believe in making voting easy? Don't we all want everybody to have equal access to the ballot? Don't we want that? Yes, we do. Well, most of us do. And if that's what we want to give everybody that opportunity to vote, as long as there are controls to prevent parties from changing the results of what the people really want. But here's the kicker. For all the times that we've found voter tampering, etc., in the last few years, all of it have been from Republicans. If you take a look at what happened in North Carolina, if you take a look at what happened in Florida, if you take a look at what happened in California, most of the times we have found these shenanigans were done by Republican operatives. I'm sorry, that's just the truth. Look it up. If you doubt me, please look it up. I've vlogged about them several times. And the thing about it is, most people don't want to even attempt to do any kind of voter, either, doing illegal things with votes. Why would they want to do that? Your one vote means very little. So why would you want to do that and run the risk of spending much time in jail? You wouldn't. You don't want to do that. So it's all a figment of it's all something that is done to let people believe when the results are out that somehow the results are not what they are. That is the whole thing about this voting. Now, what did I say? I said in the entry to the program that they are asking the wrong questions. Who's asking the wrong question? The press is asking the wrong questions. The polls show Donald Trump is losing big. And it's not one poll. It isn't just a progressive poll. The only poll that shows this race within the margin of error is Rasmussen, and we know what that poll really is. But all reputable polls show that this race is cooked. And you'll see something that I'll play a little bit later. But this race is cooked. The question now is whether we just have a win or we have a landslide. Again, let's get this right, folks. The question is, will we have a win or will we have a landslide? That is the question one has to ask. And I have the answer to that. It all depends on every single American who decides what type of government they want. That's what it's all about. What kind of government do you really want? And when you determine that, when you determine the type of government that you want, that will determine if we have a landslide or not. If we forget about fear, that will determine whether we have a landslide or not. So folks, don't be in despair. Don't be concerned. Just understand right now what is really going on in this country and understand that you are the one determining what's going to happen all along. Very important. Anyhow, second thought. Joe Biden needs to answer the question about Trump rallies differently. I just saw Donald Trump being interviewed. Well, I want to back up a second because I need to reiterate this again. It is important that we understand right now. Every single poll of consequence has Joe Biden winning nationally outside of the margin of error. And in every single battleground state, Biden is also ahead. And the trajectory of his is actually either steady or marginally going up for most. That is what you have to understand. So therefore, trying to make the narrative that somehow a win because of somehow if Biden wins and we have a lot of mail-in votes, it's because of some sort of shenanigan, then it is important that the narrative be changed. It is important that we don't allow that to cauterize in people's minds. We can't allow that to cauterize. We have to be on speed. So when you hear your right-wing friend says certain things, always be there to kindly, respectfully tell them the truth and earn their respect so that they believe what you're saying is truth. Because remember, their information is coming from other sources. And they believe those other sources. So you have to find a way to get in with them. It is so very important. And Briege, even with the Electoral College, he is far ahead right now. Even with the Electoral College, he's far ahead right now. Okay, the second topic that I want to talk about is Joe Biden needs to answer the question about Trump's rally differently. And I just before I got on air here, I called up one of the operatives in the Biden campaign that is working on messaging. And I didn't get a chance to reach him, but I'll call him after the show. Because here's the deal. I just saw on TV that when they asked, he's starting to give his message. And he says, oh, well, Donald Trump is having dangerous rallies, right? And that's the end of his narrative. Donald Trump is being irresponsible. He's having dangerous rallies. Well, look, these people are smart people who are going to the rallies. They know that they may get the virus. They know that. You don't have to tell them that. They know that. But they also think that, oh, well, the virus is, what can I say? It's a flu. Not until this church pastor got it, that particular church, the wife of the pastor who is in intensive care right now, did she say, oh, it's more serious than we thought. Again, that's the narrative that they're getting is, look, get the virus, herd immunity, all of that they're believing. So these people know that. What they don't understand is that Donald Trump continues to keep his distance from them. Not only does Donald Trump keep his distance from them, Donald Trump think they are the scourge. Donald Trump think the people who follow him are dumb. Remember, he goes out on air and he says, I love dumb people. That's not me saying his people are dumb. I don't think his people are dumb. I think his people are looking for something that the current neoliberal Democratic Party has failed to provide them. And I do think that later on we'll be able to do otherwise. But anyway, so he says he likes dumb people. That's what Donald Trump says. But also he told the reporter just a couple days ago that she was getting too close to him. She asked him, hey, Donald, do you believe that coming to these rallies, you could get the virus? Oh, no, I'm far enough from them. And by the way, I'm kind of scared about you. You're a bit too close to me. So here Donald Trump is asking his followers, his cult members, to go ahead and be in close proximity, adoring him like a god. But he doesn't want to come close to them. Why? Because he knows he could get infected from them. But he does not care if they get infected, which, I mean, if you listen to what Woodward have on tape, he knew back in February that this stuff was deadly, that it was 5 times as deadly as the common flu. He knew that it was transmitted through air, and he says, let me not tell my people that, hey, go out and have a party. So Donald Trump cares nothing about his people, but his people, that has not yet cauterized in his mind. And that is because as we tell people that, they don't have the faith in us to believe that what we're telling them is true. And that's why I always talk about let's build a relationship with our brothers and sisters that are in the Trump cult. Let's build a level of respect. It is possible. I have done it. And you can do it. And by the way, those are some of the things that I cover. You know, I always have to plug my little book right here for a minute. Those are the things that I cover in my book, and that's a book that you see on the screen. It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors. And why am I pushing this? Well, to help the program, to help fund the program. Look, I've got to be honest with you. We got to fund the program. So you get two things out of this book. You get to learn about how I've been able to do a lot of talking to folks, but also you help fund us in our program. So please go ahead. I just put the link of the book in there. But anyhow, what I want to play for you is Olivia Troy. And then I want to talk a little bit about Olivia Troy because I think Biden has to also use some of what Olivia Troy had to say when he talks about the rallies that we have with Donald Trump. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
I'm Olivia Troy. I was Homeland Security and Counterterrorism Advisor to Vice President Pence and served as Vice President Pence's lead staff member on the COVID-19 response. Toward the middle of February, we knew it wasn't a matter of if COVID would become a big pandemic here in the United States. It was a matter of when. The president didn't want to hear that because his biggest concern was that we were in an election year and how is this going to affect what he considered to be his record of success. It was shocking to see the president saying that the virus was a hoax. Truth is, he doesn't actually care about anyone else but himself. He made a statement once that was very striking because it pretty much defined who he was. When we were in a task force meeting, the president said, maybe this COVID thing is a good thing. I don't like shaking hands with people. I don't have to shake hands with these disgusting people. Those disgusting people are the same people that he claims to care about. These are the people still going to his rallies today who have complete faith in who he is.
Now that is what's important. Notice, I am glad, and you know, when you think about this, okay, I am glad for this virus because I don't like to shake people's hands anymore. So now I have an excuse that I don't have to shake the hands of those dirty people. Don't have to do that anymore. That is the mentality, right? And remember, we're talking about Republicans here. You know, a lot of people say, oh, but you know, it's you pinko liberals. No. I'm no pinko liberal. I'm very progressive. I'm left wing. But I love all my people. By my people, I mean everybody. Right wing, left wing, anarchists, conservatives, everybody. And I believe in the soup. I'm from Panama. Nosotros creemos en la salsa. We believe in that a sauce is always tastier when you have a whole lot of different things in it, right? That's what we believe that. If you take a look at the cultures in Panama and Central America, you see that. That is what we believe in. We believe that stuff. We love people. So, but until Donald Trump, until the followers of Donald Trump not just hear that, because just hearing that is not enough. Know that these things are coming out not out of a hate for Donald Trump, but out of a love for people. That's what we have to get across. You see, right now, the guards are up. You hate Donald Trump, and in hating Donald Trump, you hate us because we love Donald Trump. No, not at all. You can love Donald Trump all the way. In fact, when you listen to my last video, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But in fact, let's just go ahead and go to, let's go ahead and do Michael Steele's Another Republican. Funny, I just showed the first person I showed today is a Republican. Now the second person is also a Republican that I'm going to show. And by the way, if you're YouTube folks, please consider joining our posse. And I don't know, we're going to name this posse something pretty soon. And I'm going to ask somebody that visits us every day to run the posse. But anyhow, go ahead and hit that join button and become a official member, please, if you're on YouTube. If you're currently right here on Facebook or Twitch or one of the other streaming areas, please go ahead and go to politicsdoneright.com/Patreon and please become a subscriber. Okay, listen to what Michael Steele had to say, and then we'll take it on the other side.
You know, Ashley's reporting, Michael Steele, is a blueprint for the negligence, not just of human life, of course, most importantly, of human life. He's got the blood of 200,000 Americans on his hands. But also the destruction of the economy didn't have to be what it was. If he knew that it was airborne, he knew that it was contagious, he knew that it was deadly, he could have taken steps to help businesses prepare for a longer stretch of curbside delivery or the sorts of things that are in place, as you said, in countries like Australia that have come out on the other side. To me, these failures obviously destroyed the lives of the family members of 200,000 Americans, of our neighbors and our friends and our teachers and our doctors and our nurses and our grandparents and tragically some of our children. But he also destroyed a lot of businesses that had been there for generations.
I think that's probably the most devastating part of this, and which is why, you know, in so many ways, the reporting of journalists like Ashley and her colleagues are really kind of creating that snapshot moment in time for us. That I think you can begin to gather and pull together and really begin to see just how, to Robert's point, how different this could have been. If you just cared 1/10 more, if you paid attention for 30 seconds more, if you listened just, you know, an hour more, how different this could have been. And so we did not have to go through, you know, that walk through the wilderness that we find ourselves now, trying to get to the other side, trying to get out of the darkness, and keep the economy intact, keep our kids focused on their education and so forth. So yeah, I think that's going to be an important part of this ongoing narrative over the next 45 days. The president is trying to shift that conversation to some baser novelties, like scaring white women in the suburbs that, you know, black folks going to show up and build Section 8 housing. Okay, now that's, you want to talk about dumbass. All right, so that's where he wants to take this conversation. And what I'm asking America, and what all of us, you know, are asking America, is don't focus on stupid anymore. Get past it, baby. Move on. You know what Donald Trump is. You know what he represents at this point. There's no need to get punked any longer. Get your ballot and go vote. Show what you know right now. And because that's all you have left. You've got the storylines. You've got the narratives. Ashley and her colleagues are putting the stuff out here. They're creating that timeline. They're exposing the other side of that coin. Now take that information, empower yourself with that knowledge, and understand exactly the kind of leader you have standing before you, and vote him out.
Now, when you hear the former chairman of the Republican Party, and again, I have many blogs where I have a critique of Michael Steele like a critique of no other. Because Michael Steele is no friend of the Democratic Party. Michael Steele is no friend of progressives. But Michael Steele right now for this particular election is doing the right thing. In fact, I could say that about many in the center as well, in the center left as well. But right now, issues are existential. And when issues are existential, it is important that one coalesce onto the patriotic duty of keeping a country afloat. And what is beautiful that's going on right now is Republicans that are thinking clearly, centrists that are thinking clearly, neoliberals that are thinking clearly, and progressives that are willing to say we have to join the fold to make a change, are doing what's necessary to make sure this country doesn't fall off the edge. That's important. That is impressive. And it's something that we ought to be proud of, because it shows that still to this day, not the plurality, but the majority, the vast majority of Americans can come together. But here's the deal. I want to answer one thing from Masticator. Wonder how much Egberto is going to love Trump supporters in November when they vote him another 4 years. Will he still call me brother? Masticator, mark my word right here. Yes, you will still be my brother, Masticator. You will still be my brother. And the people that I would be upset with, but that would still be my brothers and sisters, would be those on the left. It would be Democrats, would be the Republicans that I've been talking to, and all of those. Because what I would have said is this: if his win was caused by people not showing up, I would be very upset with those people who didn't show up. If it was caused because people were just bought some one of his platitudes, I would be concerned about that as well. But no, everybody I would, and always still consider brothers and sisters, and keep moving on, keep moving forward, and keep pushing for us to be a better country. So I'm telling you, Masticator, no, you're my brother, okay? I just think right now you are so, I think right now you have it so wrong, and you haven't yet been able to change anything in my mind to let me believe that I am wrong or that somehow you are right. Okay? So it's that simple. Anyhow, if you want to see the character of somebody, all you have to do is listen to something that he says unscripted. And when somebody says something like this, and let's go ahead and play this other piece right now, you see exactly what I'm talking about.
The blue states had tremendous death rates. If you take the blue states out, we're at a level that I don't think anybody in the world would be at. The blue states had tremendous death rates. If you take the blue states out, we're at a level that I don't think anybody in the world would be at.
Okay, so you see that. Oh, the dead people in the blue state. You know what Donald Trump failed to realize? That the people in the blue states, a lot of them, dead people in the blue states, actually voted for him. I mean, it shows you his thought process. A lot of those dead people in those blue states voted for him. Because no state is fully blue or no state is fully red. In fact, even California, as blue as California is, it has a very huge Republican contingent. And those are the things you wonder about. Does Donald Trump really ever think? Does he ever sit down and say, let me see, or let me start thinking, not just what's in front of me, but let me really think? Well, anyhow, folks, so here's what I believe. I will continue to do what I do, and I know with your help and you sharing our videos and you sharing our podcasts and you making sure to share other things of value, that we can actually make a difference. In other words, not only a difference with people who are in our choir, but if you actually talk to everybody, talk to including your family who may be a big Trump supporter, explain things to them, and a lot of it is going to come into one ear and leave the other ear. But don't ever give up until it's cooked, I can't do anything about it, or they're changed for life. Don't ever believe that. I have seen people when they, I've actually spoken to people and it turns out when they've seen, when it really clicked in them, sometimes they get even more active than we are ourselves. So keep the faith that you can actually make a difference. I want to play my last video, and this has to do about our landslide. Check it out. For months, I've been saying that Democrats have been worrying unnecessarily instead of just performing. I've been saying that the 2016 election was misread for several reasons, but we'll talk about that on the other side. I want you to listen to Charlie Cook, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Charlie, everyone out there is going, yeah, we heard that last time. Trump's behind in the polls, and then he won. What is the big difference between this time and last time? The differences between the numbers for Hillary Clinton and the numbers for Joe Biden?
Well, let me count the ways. First of all, incumbent races are different from, that was a choice election between two candidates. Neither one of them were incumbents. Now, Trump has a record he's running on. He's got to defend a record. And there's a sort of an axiom with incumbents. What you see is what you get. That incumbents don't usually get many undecided votes. And he's kind of locked in at 41, 42, 43%, which is exactly where his job approval ratings tend to be, right at the same place. And so he seems to he can't expect to get undecideds or many undecideds. Independents almost always break against his sitting incumbents. Biden's favorable, unfavorable ratings don't look a bit like Hillary Clinton's. Biden is sort of basically even keeled. She was underwater so far. There are just so many different ways that this race is completely different from 2016. This is fighting the last war. Looking through this race through the prism of 2016 doesn't make any sense. They're not the same.
And Charlie, you make a point in here that approval ratings are the most reliable predictor of how an incumbent president will perform.
That's exactly right. And it's interesting. Everybody look at the last 8 elected presidents running for re-election. Every one of them that had a 50% or above Gallup job approval rating, 100% won. Everybody that was below 47%, every one of them, both of them lost. Jimmy Carter, George H.W. Bush. And the guy on the edge was George W. Bush, who was like 48, 49. And remember, election day in 84, we didn't know whether it was going to be Bush or Kerry, which way it was going to go. For President Trump, his first year average was 38%, the lowest of any first year incumbent in history, elected incumbent in history. His second year was 40%, lowest of any second year elected president in history. And his third year, he was at 42, and that was the second lowest because Jimmy Carter had slid in under him at 37. So he's having a hard time getting up to the 46% level that he got in the last election. And, you're not going to have Jill Stein and Gary Johnson sucking up 6 points between them and the other independents in the write-ins. It's probably going to be more like 2 or 3. So I just think that people are so skittish about what happened in 2016 without looking at why 2016 happened, what happened, and why this is different. So, I think people are just being scared of their shadows, overly cautious when, I think the data is pretty clear. This is a lot harder for him than 2016 was.
Now, here's the deal. Let me do a partial critique on Hillary Clinton. We don't want to relitigate the past, but I must say this because it's part of the context. Back then, I wrote several articles at the Daily Kos. Others wrote articles. And what we were saying then is that she ran the risk of losing, and there's a good chance that Donald Trump could win, specifically because of this not really being a democracy. A little state has 2 senators. A big state has 2 senators. Therefore, Dakota made an account for 1 senator for a few 100,000 people, while California has several million people and still get 2 senators. The same applies to the Electoral College, right? The Electoral College is biased for what? It's biased towards the small states. And that's the reason why you can get a huge amount of votes elsewhere, but you still don't win the election. So we knew that those particular states, Michigan, were problematic, Iowa, and the others, we knew they were problematic, and we so stated. Many people call us unscientific. Can't you read the polls? And the things we said is, we don't only read the polls, we read the directionality of the polls, which means there are polls that may have an upward bias, and there are polls that have a lowering bias, which means the poll is here today, but the directionality of that poll is you're going down, or it's steady, or you're going up. And in the case of Hillary was on a slide after several incidents. We don't have to relitigate that. And we so stated there are things that she could have done to mitigate that, which was go and campaign like hell in Milwaukee and Detroit to go ahead and reinvigorate that base that you know would be there for you if they think that you are there for them, right? But that wasn't done. And as much as Brooklyn was hearing the message, go campaign. Go campaign there because, or do some more there so that you can maximize. Okay, that wasn't done. Water under the bridge. She would have won the election, but the message that many took from that 2016 was, oh my God, the polls were wrong. No, the polls were right. The polls, she was within the margin of error. Donald Trump was within the margin of error in a lot of these states. And likewise, the poll had a directionality down for her. Now, as far as Biden is concerned, his lead has been steady. Biden is not the best candidate for the job, but nobody could be a worse candidate than even a cult leader like Donald Trump. And they know it. And what they're doing is they're now playing to the fears of the winners. They're playing to the fears of those who are really ahead. And we are foolishly many times buying it. I recall a movie that I watched one time. It was at a fort. And the fort was very low on gunpowder. And you know, in those days, they used gunpowder to make fireworks. Or so they said on the movie. And what started to happen is this big army that's coming in, they figure that this group is low on gunpowder, so they're just going to go in and wipe them out. And they would have gone in and wiped them out because they really were the ones on top. They were the ones with unlimited resources, etc. But the general in that fort decided to say, oh my God, we're going to get run over. We're going to die anyway. So let's play a card. And that card is to let the other believe that they are so confident in their win that they're going to just waste gunpowder. So that night, they started to throw fireworks up in the air, and fireworks like crazy are going off. And the invading army looked at that and they said, my God, if they're doing that, they must have a hell of a store of ammunition back in there. We better get the hell out of here. And they left. That is what Donald Trump and his cabal wants to do. They want Democrats to believe that somehow they're not in a good position, that they're not winning in a landslide, that the cards are not in their favor. When everything Donald Trump has done has been wrong and has been not hurting just all of us, but the entire country, including his own people. What we need to be doing, Democrats need to be on the attack. They don't need to be trying to defend and hold their base. Our base. What we need to do is make sure that our base goes out there. And I am doing it as a chair, and others are doing it. They're making sure, hey, don't forget to vote. But we do need to expand the map. You know, and that's a good thing that I see Joe Biden doing. Joe Biden is going to Minnesota in areas that he probably shouldn't go. Joe Biden is going to start doing things that he probably likely shouldn't do if he's just trying to electrify his base. And again, he's not the candidate of many of us very progressive folks, but he is what we have, and we will bring in other progressive candidates if we run like we know we need to run to win. Run to win. Run knowing that we're winning and expanding, and also talking to other people. Even on the right, even the Trumpists that you think are long gone. I can tell you that I have Trumpists that will be voting full Democratic this year and not telling anybody about it because you know what? It's like, I got to do it. I can't do it, but I can't let anybody know. So one message that we have to learn is we don't have to be pure in as far as expecting those that are going to vote on our side to come and say, okay, I now embrace you progressives or whatever. That's not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is giving them permission to vote for the correct side, the progressive side, and not having to come out and say, I capitulated. So give those on the right permission. Go vote your interest. But remember, when you're voting in that booth, that vote is between you and your God and that machine. That's it. You can come out of that voting booth and claim that you voted for Donald Trump. You can come out of that booth and say, I'm not going to vote for them damn liberals. But vote your interests. Nobody really knows what you've done. Those are the kinds of messaging that we have to give those that know that they need something more, something better than Trump. But their ego, their will won't allow them to do so. But if they know I can do what's right for me so that the right thing happens in this country, and at the same time not lose who people think I am or should be, then it would be. Democrats should win in a landslide. What we have to do is play the right cards, put our base out, engage the other side, and even the Trumpists give them permission to vote for us without having to capitulate to all that they used to be before. But we can do it. All right, folks. I hope you like that. Now, let me go ahead and start answering some of these questions here. Those are all the videos that I have so far. If you have any questions, just drop it into either the YouTube feed, the Facebook feed, the Twitter feed, not Twitter, the Periscope feed, or otherwise, or if you want to give a call as well, you can. Let me put the phone number in there that you can call as well. Let's see. Okay, that's 346-248-7799, ID 254-6090-9091, I believe, or I think it's 9091. Anyway, folks, the number is on the screen. If you want to go ahead and listen to it on the screen, that is what it's all about. Look. Let's see. I think I saw a message that I wanted to go off. Let's see. I think I saw one that said, actually, what I'm going to first do is introduce everybody. Michael Rudnin, welcome aboard. Bridge MCP, welcome aboard. Irene Tallman Moser, welcome aboard. Bridge, I got you, Bridge. I got you, Moser. Para ver quién más está aquí. Lee Grant, welcome aboard. Lee Burt, welcome aboard. Masticator, of course you're here, my brother. And yes, you notice I called you brother again. All right, let's see. Tank 28, Mr. MAGA. That's not going to be MAGA for too long. Let's see who else is here. Who else is here? Jamie Miller Boggs is here. Let's see who else is here. Para ver. Don Santi. Michael, well, I got you, Michael. Troy Astro, welcome aboard. Who else is here? Para ver. May Wood, how you doing, May? Let's see. Paul Fleming, welcome. And I'm continuing down the list. I think I got you, Lee Grant, right? Nanette Bird Smith, welcome. Norman Reynolds, how you doing, Norman, my brother? Let's see who else is here. Going down the list. I got you already, Fleming. Let's see. I think I've gotten everybody. A lot of messages. Dawn Santi, welcome aboard. Janice Character, welcome aboard. Okay. If you have any specific questions, throw them in there. Any statements, throw them in there. Let's see. If it was let's go ahead and say, Lee Grant here on Long Island, New York, and other countries. The Trump parades and boat parades haven't stopped. No, remember, notice the message that I gave in that piece that I just played. And the deal is this. That's the gunpowder, making fireworks out of gunpowder. You don't have a lot of gunpowder. The guy who is coming to invade you has unlimited amounts of gunpowder. But he thinks that you're limited and you're in a better position than he is. Carl Foster, what's up? Let's see. I'm just repeating what he said, okay? Now, so you have all the gunpowder. They have the opponent, and you come out there, and when I say you have all the gunpowder, Donald Trump has limitless money. Don't believe that stuff about Donald Trump running low on money. The plutocracy has millions of money. That side of the plutocracy, no problem at all. Billions, okay? So now, what they're trying to do is throw up a whole lot of stuff. Like if they're winning, they're throwing up their votes. Their votes is the ammunition, right? But they don't have a lot, so they have the little amount of voters that they have, riding boats, putting flags out, having all these things out, and that is to give the true winners the impression that they are winning. But we know what the polls are saying. We are doing a scientific call-in of people. That's a distribution of not only registered voters. And remember, I always tell people, remember, there's a thing called the registered voters, and there's a thing called the likely voters. Registered voters are everybody who registered to vote and can go to vote if they want to vote. That's a registered voter. Biden is winning both registered voters, and he's also winning almost by the same margin likely voters. Likely voters are those voters who have voted in consecutive elections. And the funny thing about it is, the danger here is this: Trump has pretty much maximized his registered voters into likely voters. The one thing Democrats have never been able to do is maximize their registered voters into likely voters. Therefore, there's a whole lot of registered voters sitting on the sidelines. And they don't show up in the likely voter model many times. They don't show up in the likely voter model, which means we could actually have a win that is even bigger than what the likely voter model is telling you. That is so important for people to understand. That is so important for people to understand. Because what it says that your uptake is that much larger than anything else. And that is what a lot of people don't understand. Politics Done Right. I replied to Lee regarding parades because she stated the people that died in New York were going to vote blue anyway. No, wrong. There's a lot of dead firemen that are generally Republicans in New York. Dead policemen that are generally Republican in New York. So let's get our numbers straight. There's a lot of dead people all over. I mean, coronavirus doesn't know whether your party affiliation. It's a human thing. And that's what we have to look at it. Democrats want to switch registered voters to likely voters, offer the people what they need: living wages, universal healthcare, infrastructure investment, debt relief, and you're absolutely right. And you've heard me said that before as well, Brother Rudnin. Masticator, LOL. Hey, my fellow Democrats, don't believe your lying eyes. Believe me, Biden is winning. Biden is winning. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Okay. As if you're a listener to my show, you always hear me say there is the president and then there is the presidency. And for all the people that attacked Obama for all the things that he did that the neoliberals wanted, I always say, do not judge the president as you judge the presidency, and that the presidency has its own gravity. What that means is, unless we forced Obama when he was in office to do all the things that we wanted him to do, the people that had the most money or the most voice was going to go in there and get it. And Lee Grant, it is not free stuff. The free stuff is what the wealthy is getting, Lee Grant. Let's get a little, let's see, I'm at 49. The indoctrination of this country into the capitalist structure is what has you believing that, in other words, because Michael Rudnin says we want a living wage, universal health care, and infrastructure investment and debt relief, that somehow that is free stuff. You were taught to believe that so that you would be a slave to the wealthy. Let's explain. Let's go with the biggest capitalist in the country right now, Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos produces nothing. Jeff Bezos does not have the brain power to create anything that he has created. Jeff Bezos is the aggregator of the combined intellect of everybody else. And in the process, he has taken a piece of the action by just giving some people some of the profits. That's what it is. But you have been taught to believe that because Jeff Bezos had the capital, the money to do what he did, it was okay for him to further profit off of your work, your intellect, and everything that you have created. Isn't that what the slave master said? The slave master had a whip, and he forced the slave in the field to produce. And as that slave in the field produced, he got a little bit of wages, meaning food, clothing, and a shabby place over his head. Well, we now have antiseptic slavery. We don't have the carnage, the whipping, the bleeding. We've learned how to do it better. We've learned that we don't have to use chains. We don't have to use whips. We don't have to use any of those things. We just have to enslave your mind. And if we enslave your mind, and by the way, it isn't only capitalism that enslave your mind. We go to, let's say, the churches that says 10% of your money is ours. Why? Because God says so. And that gives me the opportunity then to have my Rolls Royce and to have this beautiful church in my name. And I take your money to command you. I take your tithes to tell you how you should live your life. And how do I justify that? The good book says to do that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the good book if you believe that. I'm just saying the good book doesn't say everybody should be enslaved to you. And this isn't being unhinged, masticator. This is just being honest. And anybody who is listening to my words deep inside without the indoctrinative state of the Powell Manifesto or the capitalist doctrine or any other doctrine that says your capital is worth more than anything else would believe that. I mean, you don't have to believe it. If I create things, why is it that somebody who stays in an office, take no risks for anything, makes more money than that person who is risking their life? Why is it that a Kroger employee has run the risk of dying more so than the person who says, I am going to stay home in front of a laptop to play with some numbers, have that Kroger person deliver my food, have that Kroger person deliver my groceries, we have to be honest with our economic system. Why is it that I say right now we should pass a stimulus that does what? That all those people everybody continues to get the pay that they have, but those people that are doing the work that they have to do, we should be willing to subsidize them further. People say, oh, they are employed. They don't need that extra $600. Yes, they do. It's called hazard pay. It's called, let's thank them for putting their life more at risk than we have. Okay, than we have. No. I am not. There's nothing ignorant about that. I am just saying that they follow the same tenets. The mere fact that there's a collusion right now between the church and the Republican Party proves my point. There is a symbiotic relationship and tenets in the way they do it. They do the same things. So it's not ignorant, my dear brother masticator. It's just the way it is. And if you take a look at what I've said, that's the way it is. So it is important. It is very important that going forward, what we take a look at is that we take a look at our society for what it really is, that we take a look at the worth of people, what people are really worth. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people, because of our indoctrination, we give the wealthy, that person that is staying home with all the money's adoration. I really love my garbage man. I adore my garbage man. I adore that person that is sweeping that floor. I adore those nurses that are out there in the front line. I adore those doctors that are out there doing all these important things. The people that I care least about, I'm not talking about the human part of the person, but as far as the job they perform, the people I care less about are the stockbrokers and these people that make money from creating structures to make more money. They're the least of society. They make the most in society, yet they are the least of society in what they produce to make your life better. And until we can inculcate that into people's minds, until we can get them to really see that this is not just happy talk or left-wing talk, this is your talk. These are the things that you should be seeing yourself. These are the things that you should be saying, oh, no. And that's not true. Again, masticator, exclusive use of force. A church cannot force you to do anything. Yes, they can. And they are doing it right now. We have a government that is controlled by the church, a portion of our government. And in so doing, they are controlling you. Again, masticator, when one does not look at indirection, You must look at indirection. Power isn't direct. There are many forms of indirection how power is exercised. And when we have that, Bruce says, "Oh, I understand why Gore lost. It truly was because of racism and also Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, I think, more misogyny and sexism. Then you see that. But that is why a win has to be so overwhelming." So overwhelming. We are coming to the close of the program. I want to ask all of you to consider becoming, those of you that are on YouTube, please go ahead and support the program. Just click join and become a member. That is how we can continue to do this and move the message forward. That is how we can really get people to help people to start changing their frame of thought. That is how we do it. So please go ahead and click join if you will. Please also consider becoming a member via Patreon. Again, via Patreon. And how do you do that? You go ahead and go to politicsdoneright.com/Patreon, politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. You can also go ahead and go to our store, and that is politicsdoneright.com/store, politicsdoneright.com/store. As well, you can go to our PayPal. Did I do PayPal already? I think I did PayPal. No, I didn't. You can go to our politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. Okay. Look, I want to just make the statement for all of you that are here, whether you are left, right, conservative, right wing, whatever. I wish absolutely no one any harm. I absolutely wish no one any disrespect. I truly care. I'm a humanist. I'm not a church-going person. I'm a humanist. I believe in human beings. I believe in doing whatever is necessary for humans to succeed. I believe all humans have equivalent capabilities depending on what they choose to do or believe. I believe that. I honestly believe in all humans. I believe a lot of that makes us different is a lot of our indoctrination, what we were taught, how we were taught. And I also believe we all have the possibility when we open our minds to say, you know what, I guess I was wrong on this. And people have told me that before. And I've said on several issues, yeah, I was wrong on that. Until you get to that point, until more of us get to that point, let's call it herd immunity, things won't change, right? But here's the deal. We are going to make the change because I will never give up in trying to talk to my brothers and my sisters, ever. And the reason why it's to give up is to tell these clowns upstairs, the capitalists that really suck the blood out of the vast majority of Americans, that they've won with they've won with the evil that they promote, and I would never, ever, ever let them win on that account. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.